Join our family of creators. Your support means the world to us. Subscribe now to the Content Creator channel. Your support keeps us motivated and helps us bring you fresh, exciting content every week. Hit that subscribe button and be part of our journey. The year is 2025. The political landscape, still reverberating from the aftershocks of the Trump presidency, finds itself at a crossroads. The Make America Great Again movement, once a resounding cry for change, now grapples with the realities of its chosen leaders' decisions. What was promised as a return to prosperity and strength has, for many, unfolded as a period of economic hardship, social division, and political instability. The farmers who once stood as the backbone of Trump's rural support now find their livelihoods threatened by the very policies they were told would save them. Retirees, promised security and stability, watch anxiously as their savings dwindle amidst market volatility. Parents of children with special needs, promised improved support and resources, face an uncertain future of slashed funding and broken promises. The disillusionment runs deep, cutting across demographics and socio-economic lines, even reaching the upper echelons of society, where former allies now publicly voice their regrets. Yet, amidst the hardship and the doubts, a core of support for Trump and his brand of populism remains. This essay will explore the complex interplay of loyalty, regret, and the enduring power of the MAGA movement in the face of its own unraveling. The heartland of America, once a bastion of unwavering support for Trump, now bears the brunt of his economic policies. The tariffs, touted to revitalize American manufacturing, have sparked trade wars, hitting farmers hard. Skylar Holden, a soybean farmer from Missouri, knows this pain. His $240,000 contract for soybean exports to China now sits frozen, a casualty of escalating trade tensions. The Chinese market has dried up, leaving Holden and others struggling to stay afloat. The USDA program cuts have exacerbated the situation, stripping away vital safety nets. The agricultural industry is reeling from these policies. The pain is real, and the losses are mounting. Beyond the Farm Belt, the economic anxieties extend to another demographic crucial to Trump's rise: retirees. Sold on the promise of a booming economy and a return to greatness, many retirees now find themselves grappling with an unsettling reality. Their retirement dreams are slipping away. The stock market, buoyed in the early days of Trump's presidency by corporate tax cuts, has become increasingly volatile, leaving retirees who depend on their investments feeling vulnerable and uncertain. The tariffs, intended to protect American industries, have instead fueled inflation, driving up the cost of everyday goods and services. For retirees living on fixed incomes, this rise in the cost of living has been particularly difficult to absorb. In Arizona, a state with a large retiree population, many are finding that their pensions and savings are no longer stretching as far as they once did. The rising cost of healthcare, a perennial concern for retirees, has only added to their financial strain. The promise of affordable healthcare, a central tenet of Trump's campaign, remains unfulfilled, leaving many retirees facing soaring premiums and limited options. The dream of a comfortable retirement, once within reach, now feels increasingly elusive for many seniors who placed their trust in Trump's vision for a stronger America. The erosion of trust extends beyond economic anxieties, reaching deeply into the realm of education policy. For parents of children with special needs, the Trump administration's approach to education has been a source of significant worry and uncertainty. The push to reduce the Department of Education's budget, coupled with the appointment of Betsy DeVos, a staunch advocate for school choice and privatization, has sent shockwaves through the special needs community. The Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, IDEA, a landmark law guaranteeing a free and appropriate public education for all children with disabilities, has come under threat as funding for its implementation has been repeatedly targeted for cuts. For families who rely on IDEA services such as individualized education programs, IEPs, and specialized therapies, the uncertainty surrounding the future of these programs has been incredibly stressful. The promise of school choice, while appealing to some, rings hollow for many parents of children with special needs who fear that their children's complex needs will not be adequately met in private or charter schools. The lack of clarity and the constant threat of funding cuts have created an atmosphere of fear and anxiety, leaving many families feeling abandoned and betrayed. Section 5. Disability rights undermined, a promise deferred, a future uncertain. The promise of a more inclusive and accessible America for people with disabilities has been called into question. The administration's commitment to supporting people with disabilities contrasts with the reality on the ground. The Department of Justice has weakened enforcement of the Americans with Disabilities Act, making it harder to challenge discrimination and ensure equal access. The stalling of disability rights cases has compounded frustration within the community. Families fighting for educational services, individuals seeking workplace accommodations, and those facing housing discrimination face an uphill battle. The rollback of regulations has left many feeling vulnerable and uncertain about their future. The promise of an inclusive America now feels like a distant dream deferred. Section 6. Social policy disillusionment, LGBTQ+ voters feel the sting of betrayal. Within the LGBTQ+ community, the sense of disillusionment with the Trump administration runs particularly deep. Despite early overtures of support and promises of inclusivity, the Trump presidency has been marked by a series of policy decisions that have directly targeted the rights and recognition of LGBTQ+ individuals. The ban on transgender individuals serving openly in the military, the rollback of protections for transgender students in schools, and the appointment of conservative judges hostile to LGBTQ+ rights have all sent a clear message of exclusion and intolerance. For many LGBTQ+ voters who had initially supported Trump, believing his business background would translate into a pragmatic approach to social issues, the reality of his presidency has been a rude awakening. The administration's embrace of socially conservative policies and its alliance with religious groups opposed to LGBTQ+ rights have left many feeling betrayed and disillusioned. The erosion of hard-won rights and protections has created a climate of fear and uncertainty within the LGBTQ+ community, particularly for transgender individuals who have been the target of much of the administration's discriminatory policies. The promise of a more inclusive and accepting America, once a glimmer of hope, now feels like a broken promise. Section 7. Elites reckon with regret, prominent voices question their support. The wave of regret and disillusionment with Trump's presidency is not confined to the grassroots level. Even within the upper echelons of society, among the elites who once flocked to Trump's inner circle, there is a growing sense of unease and buyer's remorse. Bill Ackman, a billionaire hedge fund manager who initially supported Trump, has become increasingly critical of the president's policies, particularly the trade war with China, which Ackman argues has been disastrous for the American economy. Richard Hanania, a conservative commentator and president of the Center for the Study of Partisanship and Ideology, has also expressed regret over his past support for Trump. Hanania, who once believed that Trump's disruptive style would be a net positive, now argues that the president's recklessness and impulsivity have done irreparable damage to American institutions and norms. The public pronouncements of regret from figures like Ackman and Hanania reflect a growing sense of unease among some segments of the elite who once saw Trump as a vehicle for their own interests. As the consequences of Trump's presidency become increasingly apparent, the chorus of dissent from within the ranks of the wealthy and powerful is likely to grow louder. Section 8. Persistent core, lingering doubts, a house divided within. Despite the growing chorus of regret and disillusionment, a significant portion of Trump's base remains fiercely loyal. According to a recent poll conducted by the University of Massachusetts Amherst, only 2% of Trump voters express outright remorse for their decision to vote for him, while a larger percentage, 26%, acknowledge having some concerns about Trump's presidency. A full 74% remain confident in their choice. This enduring support for Trump, even in the face of mounting evidence of his administration's failures, can be attributed to a number of factors. For some, it is a matter of ideological consistency. They continue to support Trump because they agree with his policies and his worldview, regardless of the consequences. For others, it is a matter of tribalism. They support Trump because he represents their tribe, their team, and they will stand by him no matter what. The persistence of Trump's support, even amidst growing disillusionment, underscores the deep divisions that continue to plague American society. It also highlights the enduring power of populism, particularly when it is fueled by resentment, grievance, and a sense of cultural anxiety. Section 9. Conclusion: a movement at a crossroads. Loyalty, regret, and the future. The MAGA movement, once a triumphant expression of populist anger, finds itself at a crossroads in 2025. Promises of economic prosperity and restored greatness have given way to a complex reality. Tariffs intended to revitalize industry have sparked trade wars and hurt farmers. Tax cuts, touted as a boon for the middle class, have primarily benefited the wealthy. Social and cultural anxieties have been inflamed by divisive rhetoric and policies. The promise of unity has yielded further polarization and a deepening partisan divide. Despite disappointments, a core of Trump's support remains steadfast, bound by loyalty and ideology. The MAGA movement, once unified, is now divided, facing an uncertain future. Whether it can reconcile its contradictions and chart a new course remains to be seen. The future of American politics, and perhaps democracy itself, may hinge on the answer.